Hi everyone, welcome to Matter Interview with Klara Kopi. Today I'm here with VanDAO, Rare Vandal, the founder of the VanDAO and DAOrecords. Hi VanDAO, how are you?
Hi Clara, how you doing? I'm doing good. Over here on the other side of the world.
Yeah,
Yeah,
crazy, right?
excited to talk to you.
You're in the future.
I know, right? It's crazy.
It's a lot of fun. Yeah, it's funny. I'm still getting used to talking to people all over the world and considering the time changes. Uh, like, yeah, I'm in the middle, the start of the night. Actually, yeah, the middle of the night. I know, and you are in the morning.
Yeah, it's interesting because one of my friends from Metaverse Radio, they decided to do the Metaverse Cyber Time. So it's a time zone specifically for people who
Crazy.
live in the metaverse, so we can all coordinate our timing. It hasn't quite taken off yet, but I think it does have potential because of these differences, right? We can go, okay, we're in this time in Meta Cyber Time, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I would like to know more about it. Actually, cyber time. What a concept.
Yeah.
It's exciting. Yeah, because with the internet, everyone is connected. It's awesome.
Yeah, and it's true. Time zones are the most challenging thing to navigate within this Web3 space and the metaverse space. And especially, well, I hear they're doing away with it, but the daylight savings was like a real pain in the butt because, in
Yeah.
Europe, it moved back later than in North America. So you have this gap of like almost 1 month, where
Oh,
in America, they're already like moved the clocks ahead, and in
uh-huh.
Europe they hadn't moved them ahead yet. So it was just this whole complicated mess with daylight savings. I hope they just get rid of daylight savings. I don't think we need it.
Yeah, in Brazil, they got away with it.
That's
We
good.
don't have it anymore. It's less confusing.
Yeah.
Well, so let's start by the beginning. Tell us a bit about your background. Where did you come from? You used to have another career before, or anything you think is relevant about your story and led you here today?
Sure. Well, I was born and raised in Toronto, Canada. um, my mom was a huge influence on a lot of the things I did as a kid,
That's
whether or
awesome.
not I had a choice. So some of those things were like traveling.
Yeah.
And we traveled to South America, to Colombia, to Central America, and like Mexico and Guatemala, to East Africa, all across, backpacking, all like before I went to high school. And then once I got to high school, when I graduated, I had caught the travel bug myself and ended up starting my own sort of global adventures. And along with that, I kind of fell in love with hip hop at the end of, it was around 1989, I would say, like fully 89, 90. And I started to really kind of get into it. I had, written poetry as a kid. I was into like short stories and just sort of being creative with words, and that kind of extended to form, I guess, the basis of the last 30 years of my life, which was, becoming a hip hop MC and producer, traveling to different parts of the world, collaborating with people, and eventually, that found me in Malaysia at the beginning of 2020, where I ended up having like a #1 hit on Malaysian radio, and quite a bit of success over there. And so I ended up moving in 2007, and ever since then I've just been kind of dabbling in like community building, creating platforms for musicians and artists, and just kind of immersing myself into a lot of the sort of cultural aspects of, you know, when you travel and you meet new people and learn about things. And I like to actually include a lot of sort of my travel experiences in my music. So that's kind of, I guess, a brief kind of overview, which, you know, I ended up in Lisbon a while back. I think a lot of people might think I'm still there, but I'm in Tokyo now. And yeah, it's just been an incredible journey to kind of, so I guess some context in terms of Web3 and where we are now. In around 2017, I had already sort of heard about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency and blockchain, and I had, you know, read a book, and I think, like most people, like reading a book or reading about it is not enough. You have to dive in. And I had a friend of mine. He was like, "Hey, there's this investment opportunity. You know, it's with Bitcoin. You want to get involved?" And I was like, "Okay, this is the perfect opportunity for me now to, you know, buy some Bitcoin." And it was like early 2017. Bitcoin price was like $1,600 US for one Bitcoin. It was like super cheap.
Oh my.
And I know, right? You're thinking about it now, it's like 40,000, right? Yeah, and it was at that point where I realized the potential of blockchain, as it, like in terms of, you know, the creatives and, you know, music. And I started to kind of formulate ideas, and then here we are now in 2022, and I've got, you know, a good 5 years of blockchain under my belt, and actually it's my anniversary, I would say, since I bought my first bit of Bitcoin, a 5-year anniversary. Yeah, and then here we are building some cool stuff for artists and working on DAOs and collaborating, and yeah, and life in the metaverse and craziness.
Amazing. Yeah, amazing things. I'm loving it. I'm really loving it. Time of my life. It's been very cool to know all these artists and people that want to really build something, to really collaborate and grow together. It's, yeah, I've never been into a group that's so diverse and yet so united towards a goal. It's very cool to see it growing and developing. I think it's brilliant.
Totally agree.
Yeah. So do you think that there was actually a transition from your previous work area to Web3 and blockchains, or do you think it's more like a flow, a current of events that had to go there?
Yeah, it was more of a flow up until the pandemic started. And so like a lot of my kind of paid work was you know, doing events, and I was organizing events and helping to host and also perform. So like at that point, you know, I think along with everybody was sort of operating out in event space and physical spaces, you know, all the lockdowns started, and that was pretty much the end of that. Now, I guess I wasn't too, you know, there wasn't really a need for me to kind of like pivot, because I was already doing certain things within the Web3 space. I had already started exploring DAOs and how creatives can use DAOs. I had already kind of formed DAO Records at that point at the end of 2019, and was starting to get involved in the budding crypto art and NFT movement that was going on at that time. So, you know, it was, I think, just before pandemic time really kicked off. I got invited to do a show in Cryptovoxels by this group, this collective from Austria, the Cryptoveners. And when I went in and I checked it out for the first time, and I went to their parcel, and it was like this stage, and it was like an outdoor concert with grass and beer bottles scattered around, voxel beer bottles, right?
That's so awesome.
And I was just kind of blown away. I was like, oh, this is so cool. Like, you know, there's
Mhm.
this like virtual space, and there are people like from all over the world. They're like coming to enjoy the show, and my music is there. And I was really kind of like inspired, because, you know, this is just another avenue to share my music, and also to think about, you know, what we could do creatively. And it was pretty much just after that where I had finished a series of events in Malaysia called Think You Got Skills, which is like a hip hop battle series, like hip hop competitions. So it was like dancing, DJing, beat
Mhm.
making, rapping,
Yeah,
and so on, right? And graffiti.
graffiti. Yeah.
So we had just finished our series, and I think it was like probably November of 2019. So had already started planning the next series, right? And then because of the pandemic, I thought, okay, well, let me try something out. Let me try to create an event in a metaverse. And I organized this event series called the Pop Up. And it was in April of 2020. We did our first series of the Pop Up, which was 5 weeks, where we showcased 5 artists a week, musicians, and then we had sort of one visual artist as well that we showcased each week. And the event happened in different parcels in Cryptovoxels, because at the time I didn't have any Cryptovoxels parcels, and I thought this would be a cool way to explore the community and to connect with different people who, you know, had spaces there, and who could potentially help to you know, give us a bit more exposure, and invite more people in. So we worked. Our first event was at the Mintbase headquarters, with the Mintbase team, who we had already like I had already started you know, collaborating with around audio NFTs, and then we worked with Whale Shark, and then a lot of money in Basilius, and where else did we do? I think we did a couple of venues with Whale Shark. I got to remember all of them, but I can't. So if I forgot somebody, sorry, apologies. But yeah, that kind of
Happens.
led to my love of Cryptovoxels, and
Mhm.
at that point, when I planned out our second season, we had a allocated land that was lent to me from Whale Shark, and at the time I started to, you know, innovate a bit more on the concept. So the pop-up season 2 was more about actual audio NFTs, because at the time there weren't any sort of official audio NFTs. There were more like MP4s that people could
Mhm.
play and listen and see the image, but there weren't any MP3 based audio NFTs that were playable. So this is a big shout out to Nate from Mintbase, who helped to develop this, and
Awesome.
we showcased it for our series, which was 12 weeks,
Mhm.
from August till October of 2020. And we sold like tune passes, which was a pass to the event, where everybody who bought a pass in advance would get the NFT for each week, and so on. So that kind of allowed us to raise some money to buy some Cryptovoxels land, and pay artists like in advance for their participation. So everybody got paid regardless of if their NFT sold. Yeah, it was really a lot of fun, and sort of my transition into metaverse and music NFTs, and sort of building like a community, and especially onboarding, because actually it's still onboarding. We're still onboarding, yeah, everywhere, all
Yeah.
the time. Yeah.
Um, I, yeah, I was going to ask how did it affect you, but yeah, like I said, there wasn't really a change of career. Yeah, you just flow into it. So I'll skip to the next question.
Mhm.
What is inspiration and the motivation to create your DAO came from? Actually, you
So
have
is
two
this,
DAOs.
yeah, yeah, is this specifically for VanDAO?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you
Okay.
can talk about both of them. No
Okay, because
problem.
both are quite different.
Yeah,
Let's maybe focus more on VanDAO just because of the, I guess, the uniqueness of it. Um,
yeah.
I've always sort of enjoyed experimenting with things, whether that's music or writing, like in terms of artistically, personally, and also experiences, being open to have new experiences and challenging myself in various ways. So when I like approaching the idea of creating a DAO that represented me as an individual was kind of the opposite of what a DAO is supposed to be used for,
Mhm.
because a DAO is kind of meant to be like this community platform where people can sort of manage their governance and use it as a tool to have transparency when you distribute your funds to the initiatives and activities of the community. So if you're thinking about like a DAO that's just like an individual like me, my approach was like, okay, well, why can't I explore this idea of decentralizing myself in a way? So that was the main sort of motivation and inspiration behind like forming VanDAO. And at the beginning, I was the only counsel, so I was the DAO-tator, essentially, and this was more so that we could get things set up in a way that made sense for me.
Mhm.
And then now we've got a couple of council, and we're slowly growing our member base as well. And really, it was just like a way for me to be able to experiment and to try out new things. And I think that the type of activities that we've done from the Van Chan, which is like activating the
Yeah,
artist community to create versions of Chans like based on a character like in a style guide, and then that evolved into like storylines about the Van Chan, and now we're doing songs
yeah, I saw
about
it.
like Van Chan's is this
Yeah, it's
challenge. So
awesome.
it's activating the community that way. We've created like the Van Hub, which is still a work in progress, working with Near Hubs and Jeff and the team, which is really awesome. And the Van Hub, along with that, we did, actually, I just got them yesterday from Marcus, which is the avatars that we're going to use in Near Hub, which are
Cool.
like versions of the Van Chan. So all community members could come and get a version of the avatar that they want, and they can represent Van Chan in the Van Hub, in the metaverse, in the near metaverse. So just like fun little things like that. And then one of sort of the bigger things as we sort of are moving out of pandemic mode, and things are opening up a bit more, and people are kind of getting together, and there's more real world stuff happening, was this idea of creating a VanDAO studio. And during my time in Lisbon, I had been working quite a lot with Arroz Studio, which is a cultural association in Lisbon, focus on art and music, and they have studios and residents there, who create and do various things, and they have a lot of activities. So I thought, well, this is a great opportunity to rent a studio at Roche and then use that studio to involve the community members locally in Lisbon, and create some cool content by having live streams of DJs or podcasts and various things. So we're working together with Plantasia, which is Alice, and as well as the Garden Collective, which are like some cool graffiti artists who also are involved in the Graffiti DAO, and some of the members at Roche Studio to produce content every month. That gets broadcasted out into Cryptovoxels, into the VanDAO studio space, which I think later we'll go and have a look inside. I can show you. So there's been a lot of opportunity for me to kind of experiment by having my own DAO, and to think about what it means to have sort of self decentralization and allowing community members to come and have a certain degree of control over, where our budget is used each month and what we do. And I think the next step would be to start to explore sustainability models. So, for example, we also released the Rare Vandal, which was my single that was produced through collaboration with the Beat DAO, and then the music video.
Yeah, right.
That was with Metaverse DAO, and so through these experiments, we have the opportunity to also create some income, and which then can be sort of used as a sustainability model. And that's kind of, I think, the next few months we can explore a bit more on how we can offset our need for funding, and to focus on creating digital products that we can sell and kind of create sustainability for the DAO.
Yeah, it's important, this part. Well, we're also thinking about it, these new ways that we can have a sustainable DAO, right? Because it's nice to have funding, but it would be really cool if you could grow in a more sufficient, self-sufficient way. And actually, I was very excited to know more about the VanDAO, because I read an article that you wrote on Medium, and I was very curious to know how does it work. Like, oh my God, decentralizing yourself, what a concept. It seems so cool.
It's not the easiest thing to do, because ultimately decentralization is about giving up control, right?
Yeah, it's hard.
And as an individual, like giving up control is very challenging. And I've noticed that, like, even within myself, and what I do with the DAO, and how I watch people engage with it. And it's been a step-by-step process of sort of giving up that control. But at the same time, it's also about exploring how I can use my brand, and me sort of as a creator and as an artist, to be able to then have a community built around that, which can help direct things and what to do, and also become more a part of it. So I think that this is potentially, a model for other artists to look at, when they want to sort of expand their own brand as an artist, and think about how to involve their community in what they do as an artist. So it's interesting experiments to see where things go.
I'm excited to follow it. I even saw that you gave like body parts, not body parts, but something related to the body, to the councils, right? You said
Yeah,
blood, sweat,
yeah,
and tears, I
yeah.
guess.
Right. Yeah. So that was sort of the idea of the membership, the DAO
Yeah.
membership, right? And the membership is still there. We have 4 tiers of membership. The main tier, I actually bought it, which is the blood. It was only a 1 NFT, and then there's 3 NFTs of the sweat,
Like you
and
put
then
NFTs.
yeah. So the membership is an NFT, and then when you get the NFT, you have basically the ability to direct funds yourself, so that you can then choose what things you want to put funding towards, as long as it fits the mission of the DAO. The membership drive has been interesting, but at the same time, like, kind of challenging because it's so new.
The
So I don't know. I
process.
mean, they're NFTs. They'll be there forever, right? So who knows? Maybe, in the future, when the VanDAO has a couple of $1 million in it, and everybody's like, more
Oh my
interested
God, I
in
gotta
becoming a
grab
member
myself one of
now.
those. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm really excited to see how it goes. I think it'll be great to see it. Wish you all the luck.
Thanks.
Um, but why did you choose to build on Near protocol? Why Near?
Um, it's a good question. When we started DAO Records, I guess this would have been around the same time as we kicked off the second season of the pop-up. At that point, we had like around 6 core members, and I'd been regularly, hosting meetings together and community stuff, and looking at how to really utilize the DAO for what we were building. We had a major issue because at the time, the Ethereum gas prices started to go crazy, and this was about July of 2020-ish. And it became very sort of expensive to deploy a DAO and to interact with the DAO, especially if like all of the various decision making was going to happen on chain, right? So we decided to deploy our first DAO on the XDAI network, as a recommendation from one of our advisors who was part of DAO Stack, which is one of the early DAO platforms. And it became very challenging for our members to interact with the DAO because of like just the simple, the not so simple steps required to interacting with Web3. So, it's obviously you have MetaMask, and then in order to then access the XDAI network, you need to like put in all the details and adding it as a network, and then you need XDAI, and then we found, like, after trying to do this, we found there was no interaction by any of the members of the DAO with the DAO. And then I was like, okay, well, what's the point of having a DAO if people aren't, like the core community are not going to interact with it? And it just seemed like it was a lot of work to do without sort of any community involvement, which wasn't like, that's not the point of a DAO, right? So after that, I kind of, stopped, not stopped exploring DAOs, but just was just waiting, because I think the technology needed to kind of catch up with the ability for the average person to use it. Obviously, if you're like a technical person, you're a developer or a coder, or you have those sort of skill sets, it's easier for you. But as a creative, and as like musicians and creatives coming into the space, there's a big challenge to interact with the technology, and at the time it just didn't work out. So it would have been Well, yeah, it was basically Mintbase, who we had been working with, who decided to build a parallel version of their platform and marketplace on Near. So this was at the end of 2021, I think it was.
I didn't know that.
No, 2020, at the end of 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it was around, I think, November, December of 2020, they decided to move to Near. So I had just kind of looked at Near. I didn't really know much about it beforehand. But I trusted Nate as like a technical whiz, to know what he was doing and why he was deciding to build with Near. So I opened up a Near wallet, and I got a little bit of Near, and at the time Near was 80 cents. So I guess it was quite cheap as well.
Oh
And
my. I wish.
I just was waiting until Mintbase had their testnet, and I became like a beta tester on the testnet. And as soon as they were ready to go on mainnet, we started minting our NFTs. And then around that time, Mintbase had suggested that, because they had already started CreateBase, which was their guild and their community. So CreateBase was pretty much the first DAO, I would say, the first DAO for creatives in the Near ecosystem. Which started as a guild, which used funding to do various things in Cryptovoxels and other stuff when it came to minting and testnet on Mintbase. So through that, I was invited in February of 2021 to facilitate the growth of a music community on Near. So we started NXM, and that started in February of last year. It's been over a year now. We've been doing NXM, and NXM was pretty much the launch pad for everything else that kind of is within the ecosystem with music and what we've been doing in growing the creative communities using Near. And over that time, I've been able to watch the emergence of various platforms, like, for example, NearHub and Nearverse. There's also Reality Chain, which is 2Dverse. There's the platforms like Ref Finance and Astro DAO, which before Astro was Sputnik DAO, and that was where we first had started our DAOs. And so it's been really amazing to kind of watch the Near ecosystem grow and to see how strong the community is and how they work together. So, I think we see this, right? We see one DAO working with another DAO. We see collaborations between the NFT projects and various like Paris and staking and Ref Finance and a lot of the cool projects that are coming out of the ecosystem. So that was probably, our ability to kind of just see the growth of things. And in general, we're just kind of watching the Web3 space grow and seeing new, more and more artists and people coming into the space and watching platforms emerge on various chains, right? And just kind of experimenting still and seeing where things are. And that was, I think, at the point where, with DAO Records, at the point where we decided to actually start building something, we were able to really make that decision and say, okay, Near is a good place to start. I believe in interoperability, like all chains, and I think this is something that like is kind of like coming down the road. But currently, I'm not too worried about interoperability yet, but I think we will get there. So building on the near protocol really is efficient. It's cheap transactions. We can keep costs down, as well as onboarding has been quite smooth. And I found people have been very like haven't had too many issues when it comes to getting their near wallets. And
Oh, it's
you know, we
very easy.
have, yeah. So yeah, that hopefully answers your question about near. Why
Yeah, it was
near?
great.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's a very complete answer. I even learned some things. It's awesome. I like these interviews because I always learn something. It's amazing. I know people and learn. It's cool.
Yeah, it's true. I did online radio for 5 years, and usually every week we would have a guest. So we would do interviews, and yeah, it's always a great opportunity to learn about people and learn new things, and it's pretty inspiring as well, I think. So keep
I
it
love
up,
your
Clara.
mom. What?
Keep it up. Yeah, yeah.
I was saying that I love your mom.
Oh,
I'm a fan.
I love my mom too.
Oh, she's great. I'm glad. Yeah, but I love interviewing her. He was great. And now I'm loving interviewing you. What a good family. Let me check the next question. Oh, yeah. What are your thoughts on the metaverse? How do you think having a virtual space on the metaverse is helping your DAOs reach your objectives faster, better, soon?
Yeah, it's the metaverse is an interesting concept. You know, there isn't really sort of a definitive answer to it.
Yeah, lots of
And
definitions.
yeah, and you know, it's been around for a while. Like, you know, I remember in the early 90s, VR, it was the sort of the first time where there was consumer facing VR technology, and everybody was getting excited about virtual this, virtual that, and there were movies about it, and you could go into like the arcade and put on the massive headset and be in wherever space and move around. And you know, and then web spaces started to develop, you know, particularly with the success of Second Life, which is probably one of the biggest virtual reality and metaverse platforms or spaces. And my mom actually was heavily involved in there, and we actually shot a music video. My mom did a music video for one of my songs that she shot in Second Life. So before this Rare Vandal video, she had already like done it like 15 years ago. so we've seen we've seen the concept come a long way, and I think with decentralization, blockchain, and Web3, this idea of the metaverse makes more sense, because now we can have a shared ownership. There's a distributed network, and there's not sort of one central server. You know, similar to video games. I think video games are another version of the metaverse, like Roblox or Fortnite or, you know, Minecraft. And I think that, you know, with the emergence of Cryptovoxels and Decentraland and Somnium Space, and now there's like, it's metaverse madness, to be honest. I was just at Non-Fungible Conference in Lisbon at the beginning of April, and everybody is doing a metaverse project. Everybody. So we're going to see an explosion of metaverses coming, and it's the buzzword now, you know. So I think that there's a big opportunity of looking at metaverse as the new social media, and maybe not so much social media in the way that we know it, but more in terms of engagement, as opposed to, you know, sharing posts or sharing videos and that sort of way that social media is used as like a content vehicle. This is more experiential. So metaverse allows us to kind of transform these social spaces into experiences, and that we can use these experiences to build community, to promote artists, to promote NFTs, to onboard, to do pretty much anything that you can think of, really. And then sort of coming out of this introduction or reintroduction within the Web3 context of Cryptovoxels, and kind of seeing the development of Cryptovoxels over the past couple of years, it's really, I think that this idea of ownership, land being NFTs, how you can then utilize land. Like, for example, I'm able to help out different communities within the Near ecosystem, for example, by renting out a parcel to them to then use and have as their venue. And I guess I was pretty lucky because, I've been pretty early in things, and I've had the opportunity to accumulate a number of parcels in Cryptovoxels and Sandbox, and so that I'm able to kind of make use of these parcels. Sometimes I just lend them to people for free. Other times I'll do rentals agreements, and there's this opportunity there for, as I say it, like a landowner, to earn some income from your parcel. Yeah. And I think this is really cool because it's just another sort of opportunity to like expand your expand your community, to earn some funds, to help people out, to teach. Like yesterday I was with Sahil. Sahil is one of the Near community members. I can't remember. I don't think he told me what DAO. He said he was going to be launching a DAO, and that he needed a space for an online gallery and a DJ thing and stuff. And I had him in yesterday in Cryptovoxels in the space, and I was going through all the how to build. And we did a workshop, and I showed him yeah, you can do this, you can do that. And then, here you go. And then last night, it was a bit late. I was sleeping already, but he had his event in the space. So I think today I'll catch up with him to find out how it went. So yeah, things like that, to be able to, help the community out, I think are great. And yeah, so I guess the metaverse opens up a sort of another world. It is the virtual world, but another world in which you can then create experiences and share them, monetize them, and just kind of have different ways of connecting globally in a place. So it's exciting times for metaverse.
Yeah, I saw that I think it was VanDAO studio, you have this hallway, and then you step into. It was a mother that built.
No, that one I built it. Yeah.
Oh, awesome! It was very cool. And then you
fall
into a place, and you get lost, but then you go to another hallway, and the VanDAO was here. It's very cool. Yeah. And then you get to the point where you have a show going on.
Yeah, we can walk through it later. We'll go through.
Yeah, it'll be awesome.
From the beginning. Yeah, it's a bit of a maze. I know it's not the easiest venue to find. It's a bit of.
Yeah, I know that I didn't explore it. Everything. When I went there, it was for a show. I think it was Plantasia.
Yep.
Is that how you say it?
Plantasia. Yeah, Plantasia. Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah.
It was me and the pros spinning there.
Yeah, I saw you guys.
It was fun.
Yeah.
So what are your plans for the future of your DAOs? What are your plans for the future of your DAOs and your metaverse presence?
So currently we're planning the launch of the DAOrecords Alpha, which is going to be our new NFT minting system and it will be like we have done in the past with the pop-up metaverse event series. It starts on the 4th of May, and we go 12 weeks, and we'll be featuring an NFT drop each week, interviews with the artists. Yeah, it's next week, literally 1 week from today. We'll be doing it. So it's really exciting. Like now we have a small team. There's 8 of us, and a couple of devs and people helping to manage various aspects of the project. There's been support from the Near ecosystem through Marketing DAO and through Creatives DAO, and we've got an application in for a grant from Near Foundation. And this is all sort of to work towards building our own sort of launch pad. I'd rather call it a launch pad than a platform. And sort of we've got our roadmap kind of built out for that, specifically for DAO Records. And definitely we'll be making use of the metaverse spaces. So for example, not only Cryptovoxels, which I'll also show you later, will go to both spaces, the VanDAO Studio space and the DAO Records HQ. And we'll also be working with Reality Chain and 2Dverse to create sort of a Near-centric metaverse space for people to experience the event simultaneously. So there'll be like both events happening at the same time in both metaverses live. So people have the choice to come in to whichever one metaverse they want. So I think like this is for me is really exciting because we've been over the past two plus years working towards this point, and a lot of focus has gone into building the music and creative communities in general on Near. So now it's more of a focus on developing the community around DAO Records. VanDAO is what I do. So obviously anything that I'm doing is going to be kind of relevant to VanDAO. But more so, what really excites me about this convergence of metaverse and NFTs and DAOs is what we're doing with DAO Records. And it's a process. It really is a process. Sometimes we imagine in our head, like, yeah, we can do this, and that, but like, the technology isn't like up ready yet.
Yeah.
B, like the challenges in onboarding and community is still like a lengthy process. So we've kind of mapped things out with a long-term vision to eventually the plan is to create sort of our own DAO Records metaverse, but also have a presence in as many other metaverse environments as we can, because this ultimately is interoperability. It's kind of like, well, if you're only on, let's say, social media, right? If you're only on Facebook and you're not on Instagram,
yeah,
or you're not on Twitter, then you limit yourself. So, it's like you're only on Cryptovoxels, then it's like you're only on Facebook or something, right? So why not be everywhere? And I think that there's value in participating in various metaverse spaces and the communities that exist there and tapping into those communities. So
I completely agree. I think that's the future. That's not the future. That's where we're heading. I think that being in multiple blockchains, having this interoperability, and being able, including being able to take something, an NFT from one blockchain and take into another one to another space that you have, it's the best. It doesn't limit you. You can be everywhere. Because why not be everywhere if the internet is? So why not expanding to whatever, whatever you can.
There's the biggest challenge is how to do it all.
Yeah.
there's already just so much going on that Like
Yeah.
it's literally impossible to be everywhere. And, so these are the crazy, I guess, fourth world challenges or metaverse challenges. Hence my
Being
lack of sleep.
everywhere.
Yeah, it's like it's the time zones that we talked about earlier. Like it's just I guess like a word of advice to people who are kind of just new to this or wanting to get involved is to really kind of balance or try to find a balance for your health in not trying to do too much. I know it can be really exciting and you want to do everything, and I've been there, and I've been there a few times actually, but it does take a toll, and there's burnout that happens. I've seen it with various people in the ecosystem. So just be mindful of that, and find a community that you really are passionate about what they do and get involved. And I think that those are kind of the things that you can do. Start slow and try and do everything at once. I know you probably have like all kinds of big crazy ideas, and maybe it's good to kind of set up a
want to
roadmap.
conquer the world.
Yeah, and like have sort of phases in which you do things and take your time. I think that's
completely right.
Yeah,
we're only human. We're not entirely on the metaverse. Yeah, you're right.
Well, we're moving in that direction of transhumanism, but we won't go there in this conversation.
Yeah, it will take a while. I can save it for another one. It would be interesting. So, I would ask what you're working on now. We've been there a little bit, but if you want to say anything else regarding that, it would be cool. If you feel like
really just keep an eye out on what we're doing with DAO Records. If musicians, come and attend our metaverse event series. It's held on Wednesdays every week, with the exception of the first week of June, for 12 weeks, and we'll be featuring various artists from around the world. Our first event is going to feature a song by Meja One, and that features Janine. It features Noise, as well as JCB on the production, and ALX, who did the engineering and mastering of the track. And that's our first drop with DAO Records. It's the event series is called Sound Splash. You'll see it in the venue when we go visit it in a bit. And just participate, come and join us for the live event, support however you can. We appreciate the support from the community, so definitely.
Don't be there, me and Beko Pro, the ghost. What time you said that this event will happen?
Yes, so because we have artists from around the world involved, the event time will change every week depending on the location of the artists, because we want to ensure that the artists are able to kind of bring in their fan base and their audience, which usually tends to be a bit more local. So this one will happen at 9 a.m. Eastern.
9 a.m. EST. I'm writing it down.
On the 4th of May.
EST, 4th of May.
Yeah.
Cool. We'll be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. It'll be great. I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome.
Well,
Thank you, Klara.
You're welcome. Just the final 2 questions about the future. What legacy would you like to leave for the future creatives and builders on Web3?
Yeah, I mean, this is something that I've kind of been, working on my whole life, really. Well, most of my career is helping other artists achieve their dreams through whether it's creating platforms for them to get experience and to perform, and helping new artists. I think mostly like my focus has always been, helping out new artists get to where they want, offering advice and stuff. So I think that I've already kind of started building my legacy in that way. Leaving something behind, I don't know, like, obviously my NFTs will be there and they'll exist long past my day. So, maybe the DAO, I think, is something like I think I talked about that in my blog post, and the idea of like leaving the DAO to the community, and have the community in control of my, I guess, you call it my estate or something. Let's say I pass away, and the community and the council, the DAO council, can decide what to do with what I've left behind, and kind of maintain the legacy that way.
No way. You would leave something that would live on beyond your mid self. Our mid self. So yeah, we leave something on the internet.
It's interesting though. It's also like, do things on the internet actually exist? If the internet was to not exist anymore, or I think about these things as well, right? And these are some of the questions, is like, what happens if there's an EMP, or we lose power in the world or something, and there's no more computers, and I think that having something physical as well is important. And I've been working on writing a book, although I've been very bad at doing it regularly. That's something that I think is what I'd like to kind of leave behind as well, is to publish a book about my life and the things that I've done and where I am, and my experiences to share with other people. So that's probably the real world tangible, what I can leave behind.
Physical and NFT?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Awesome. Looking forward to get one copy. Yeah, but no rush. Do your time. It will come when it comes.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, and I was going to ask you to give some words of wisdom, but you touched the subject. What would you say to people? Yeah, starting and on the Web3 way of life, and you touched the subject. Would you like to add something else?
Yeah, no, I'd just say get involved in something, like find a community that you're interested in, and just get your hands dirty, and do stuff, because this is more like, this space is more about practical as opposed to theoretical. Like, you can read all you want, you can read blog posts, you can do Twitter, this, that, whatever, it's Twitter spaces and blah, blah, blah. But until you actually do it, that's where the real learning happens. And, just do it. Don't worry about like how or when or who or where, just do it.
You're right. Thank you so much for that, VanDAO. Now we're going to take a stroll on the metaverse.
Yeah.
It'll be cool.
Cool.
Bye. It was a great pleasure. Yeah. It was a pleasure having you here. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Klara.
Bye.